That's really troubling the tech sector. Mass layoffs that we're seeing across big tech companies. It seems like Amazon is the latest with 15% job cuts that's likely to come. A lot more in detail on that, on how the government can step in, if there is a way out for techies in India. And in our deep dive segment, we will also take you through the techie suicide in Kerala. The boy who's allegedly died by suicide has left a video behind blaming an RSS shakha and also naming his abuser, saying that he was abused by an RSS member since the age of 3 and he had severe mental depression. Eventually he took his life and he asks for the police to take that last note as his suicide note. RSS denies it. The Karnataka Congress now outrightly banning RSS in schools and colleges, making this giving this a whole political tone at this point. And finally, we will take you through details on the caste census in Karnataka. Sudha Murthy and her husband Narayan Murthy have denied to participate in Karnataka's caste census. We'll tell you why. As always, I start with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlights rapid development in Andhra Pradesh under Chief Minister Naidu and Deputy Chief Minister Pawan Kalyan with full central support. He's also announced Google's AI hub investment and a new international subsea cable gateway in Visakhapatnam. Pushkaraj Sabharwal, father of Captain Sumit Sabharwal, and the Federation of Indian Pilots moved the Supreme Court seeking a court-monitored probe by a former judge into the June 12th Air India crash in Ahmedabad that killed 260 people, citing that AAIB report has some glaring lapses, demanding a fair and transparent investigation. All ministers in Bhupendra Patel's Gujarat government has resigned ahead of the major cabinet reshuffle in Gujarat, paving the way for a new team with around 10 new faces expected, swearing in to be held on Friday, October 17th by the Governor Acharya Devrat. Comedian Kapil Sharma's cafe in Canada, Surrey, attacked yet again. This comes under attack for the third time as a gunman opened fire, claiming responsibility via social media. Associates of gangster Lawrence Bishnoi have taken responsibility here, warning Bollywood figures and alleged defaulters in a brazen public post as well. Karnataka government plans regulation of use of government premises and properties Bill 2025, requiring prior approval for religious or political events on government property. Violations may bring up to 3 years jail, 1 lakh fine and 5,000 daily penalty. Sabrimala case, SIT questions main accused Unnikrishnan Potti at an undisclosed location in the Sabrimala gold theft case. Chief KT Shankaran of the Devasam inspects the premises as well in the strong room. Arrest is likely for the Bangalore-based businessman picked up from Pulimath, Thiruvananthapuram. Supreme Court dismisses Telangana's challenge to the High Court stay on expanded OBC reservations exceeding 50%, while the state argued the 42% quota for local body elections is a legislative policy, and Indra Sonhi, the case allows exceptions in special cases itself. AIDMK's Thangamani criticizes the DMK for losing Google investment despite Sundar Pichai's Tamil roots. Minister TRB Raja highlights 15,000 crores Foxconn deal and denies lack of efforts to attract tech giants. China calls its oil imports from Russia as legal, warns the United States of firm countermeasures against unilateral sanctions, citing threat to global trade itself and supply chains. This follows Trump's claim that India has agreed to curb Russian oil imports. All right, let me begin with our top story here. We're looking at yet another round of layoffs, and the tech sector quite brazen here as they adapt to artificial intelligence. Layoffs have been rampant. Streak of layoffs that continues brazenly across the global tech sector, and once again Indians are the worst hit. Nearly every major tech giant, as you know, running its big back-end operations all from India. So this global shake-up that we're seeing certainly hits hard right here at home. Amazon in the latest to join the list. Reports say Amazon is cutting out nearly 15% of its jobs, largely from the HR workforce, a team that spans recruitment, payroll, employee support function worldwide. They're now facing the axe. Internally, internally itself, HR department as in Amazon is known as the People Experience and Technology Division. They employ tens of thousands of people across the globe. But here, Amazon looking to lean its force heavily, and they want to right now depend extensively on artificial intelligence and cloud-driven operations. So therefore, job cuts are imminent, and Amazon is looking at a 15% cut in its force. Several human resource functions are being automated now or merged. So Amazon believes at this point it's good to announce that 15% workforce will be laid off. Under CEO Andy Jassy, Amazon has already seen the biggest job cuts in its history. About 27,000 corporate roles between 2022 and 2023 were cut out. So Amazon, in fact, was one of the first to go into that job layoff spree. And now in 2025, the back yet again, suggesting 15% layoffs that could happen any time now. This new phase, however, is more strategic, according to them, reshaping the company for an AI-first future, not just slashing costs. It follows a similar pattern seen in Accenture, in Tata Group, both restructuring their global teams amid the same technological churn. For Amazon's HR staff, the very people who really usually manage all the layoffs here, this round of layoffs will really hit home. The final numbers and timelines remain under wraps, but the anxiety is certainly visible. The world's biggest tech employers continue to shrink their human workforce in favor of AI systems. Experts say that the government must step in now to see what they can do best to reskill Indian employees, to safeguard their jobs in whatever way possible, and to support those who've fallen prey to this growing wave of tech layoffs. What really is the solution? Is there any fallback option? Dr. Kiranpreet Kaur, Global Talent Acquisition, Voice and Top 50 HR Voice. She's joining us here. We also have Kanish Gaur, Technology and Policy Expert and Founder, India Future Foundation, and Dr. Sharad Kohli, Founder, KCC Group. Dr. Sharad Kohli, my question to you first. Tech layoffs that are so rampant, we're almost now become immune. As a news channel, I'm consciously picking the story because I know what really is going through the homes, minds of those who are facing these layoffs. But you know, this news is coming in, trickling in so often that it's easy for us also to shrug away, saying, well, this was expected. But what can the government do to ensure that there's an option for these people who are laid off to survive?
Good evening, Nabila. Good evening to the viewers of NewsX and News9 and the fellow panelists. I think this was always in the making. We've seen AI being in business for a number of years now. And I think I also blame it partly on lack of preparations on part of these techies. Because when these companies in India, they were hiring these techies, they were hiring for very routine kind of jobs. You know, of course, some of them were in software development and they were in writing softwares for that matter, if I put it in simple language. But a lot of them were in routine jobs, you know, of testing, coding, and so on and so forth. Now, it is true that AI is coming, but I'll come to answer your question specifically here. I think the best way is to scale because my economic analysis team tells me that about 15 to 20 crore jobs are likely to be created in the next few years. So I think for the techies, it's not very difficult. They already have an IT background. All they need to do to upskill themselves. I mean, although the layoff is a layoff, it's not something very nice to be hearing about at both ends, you know, from at the families end and at the guys end, whatever happens to the person. But then this is the right time to upskill yourself. And this may also be the time, Nabila, for someone to go on your own. I met a lot of techies who started their own businesses.
But
they
I'm
took
sorry,
this
you know,
opportunity.
how many of them have the capacity to go on their own? And what happens in the interim? You know, they're laid off. Most of them are hand to mouth. Whatever salary you get, very minimal. You're either fending for your family, you're the sole breadwinner. Where do you have the money to now spend on, you know, ensuring that your skills are upgraded? All of that comes at a cost. Nobody's funding for it. Which is why my question here is, can the government step in? Because this is looking like an epidemic. And it's a serious problem. We can't expect every one of them who are upskilled now to find a job either. Because AI is now going to limit workforce as well.
No, I do agree, Nabila, but then, obviously 100 out of 100 cannot find a job, so you need to. But as far as people being hand to mouth is concerned, I think anybody working at Amazon or a TCS or whatever, they have that much of financial base. I mean, it doesn't take too much to upskill yourself. I find a lot of them taking a break in their career. How much does it take to
upskill yourself? Is there a separate course, or what does it take to upskill yourself?
No, I mean, upskilling can be done through AI itself. I mean, there are a lot of online platforms where you can upskill yourself. So, see, either we keep regretting for rest of our life, and we can't remain unemployed for that matter. We have to do something. So here's the solution. The solution is either upskill, and this may also, Nabila, be the time, as I was saying earlier. I have met a lot of people who started. I mentor about 200 startups in the Silicon Valley. All of these guys, or shall I say most of these guys, were working with some of the other big tech company, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Microsoft, whether it was Google, whether it was any other company. They quit their jobs and they decided to go on their own. And today they have own small little ventures on AI itself. So I think that the best way is to, instead of running away from the monster, just try and swallow the monster, try and gather the strength to fight the monster. I think that is the best way to do it. Otherwise, simply regretting. And because government, now coming back to your question on the government, that's a very important question. Because government skilling cannot be done overnight. Government has been struggling with skilling. I mean, skilling in India has been a perennial problem anyway. Why look at the techs? Even at the basic level, at the factory level, there are a lot of companies I know who say we are not able to find employees here. There are plenty of jobs, but they don't find skilled manpower. And even in Amazon, if you see, Nabila, what has happened is that warehousing and logistics jobs have seen addition of jobs, because that is somewhere where you need legwork to be doing. But wherever there is a back-end job which can be automated, it's very easy for AI. For example, HR, you could have a centralized HR who could be taking interviews. There are AI softwares who could be taking interviews of people sitting anywhere around the world. You don't even need to be bothered about the time zone for that matter. So I think this was always in the making. It takes me a bit of a surprise that why didn't these techies foresee that? And why didn't they prepare?
How do you foresee that? I'm sorry, I can't foresee an AI anchor taking over my job. Though I know it's in the offing. I know it's in the offing. Well, of course I can too. It's not like I can't imagine it. But you never know. You never feel it until it happens to you. It doesn't hit you so hard until it really happens to you. And none expected this to come so fast. You think that this is coming, it's impending, it's still, in the long haul, but not so fast. Now that it's happening, my only question here is, then even the government should be anticipating it. They should also ensure that these employees are protected. Is there any labor rights or protection to the techies in India?
No, unfortunately, there are no rights in this manner where you do not foresee a tech innovation coming. But the thing about AI is that the more it comes in your life, the faster it comes. There's a catalytic effect. It becomes very, very quick. If you look at the last year, you will find that the speed of AI penetrating into our lives in various things has been increasing, and this is going to increase further. This is what I said, that you should have anticipated it a little bit. In fact, I was talking to a few of TCS employees, and what they told me is that because the task that we were deputed in the US, for example, I'm talking of outsourcing here, they were doing testing and coding. And at that time, because they were so busy in the grind, that they never found time to properly upgrade themselves. So this is exactly what I meant. Yes, you can foresee as far as anchors coming. I'm already seeing anchors in AI on some of the media platforms.
Already are, but I wouldn't imagine that until it actually falls on you, you never know the real threat of it.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. You need not wait for things to fall on you. You have to learn from the mistakes which others have done, Nabila. That's my only point. But
okay.
Apologies.
So be more proactive, anticipate this, don't have any hopes on the government, no protection from the labor laws for you. All I can say is right now it's for the techies to fend for themselves. There's zero protection coming in from any other quarters. Dr. Kiran Preet Kaur, I know this is in India, it's come as a big blow because the back-end work, the service sector entirely is all based in India. These companies have employed heavily and now they're downsizing also heavily. But what's the situation globally? Elsewhere in the world, we know that layoffs are still happening. How are they protected? Is there any rights that they have? What kind of cushioning is the government there giving them?
Thank you so much for asking that question, Nabila. In a lot of countries, the government comes forward and support, if any citizen is unemployed for more than 2 months. There are economies which are, capable of doing that. But when it comes to Indian economy, I mean, let's be honest. We're going through a transition. We need better planning. We need better strategies. We need a plan to handle this. We are going tech. We're talking a lot about tech, but what we're missing is the humane part, which is going to become the most critical one in the near future. And especially when you talk about laying off HR, which is like the core of any organization, which is supposed to support other employees. If that gets into a cut, it raises a lot of anxiety and discomfort in any organization, because then that puts people's mind that who's protecting if the HR themselves are being, laid off. So the question here that we need to ask and we must think about is that this is not the biggest elephant. This we all knew somewhere was going to come. The biggest elephant is the upskilling, which is missing. Organizations need to see where they can deploy these employees before taking that hard hit of laying off, because every individual is supporting a family, could be the single breadwinner. And with that one individual, we're impacting at least 5 more individuals around them.
5 more individuals impacted. And that's what I fear, that many of them could be the sole breadwinner for the family. So one person losing his or her job could really come as a big blow to the entire family. Indians are resilient, but how far, right? How far can you test patience? Kanish Gaur, do you see any help coming in from any quarters, or is it just like both our panelists here say, you've got to watch out for yourself? Yes, we know that we've got to watch out for yourself, but there's some hope. As a taxpayer, I'm sure many of them are also paying taxes. As a taxpayer, you would wish that there's some kind of cushioning from the labor laws that will come to you. Is there anything that can ease this pain?
Look, the whole purpose of setting up a global capability center in India is to cut down cost. And with the use of AI, they are looking at doing that much ahead. So it's only a matter of time which function gets automated and which functions is completely taken over by AI or agentic AI agents. So you have to understand these global companies will eventually look to make profits, and that's what they want to do more. That's why thousands of companies globally are setting up these global capability centers in India. Initially, they will hire people, but eventually they will look at reducing staff and building AI center of excellences, whether it is across HR, finance, looking at business processes. That's what they do. That's how the business model is built up. So you really have to look at government taking an active stand that if there are going to be mass layoffs from one company, could there be an opportunity to re-employ or rehire these people for some of the newer captives which are getting set up in those regions? Now, the central government can't do it, but there could be state labor laws that if a certain company is laying off certain large number of individuals, they need to provide a mechanism for these people to have take care of their salary, right? So there are ways where you lay off people, but you give them a mechanism to be taken care for 6 months or 9 months.
So that's what's called the severance, right?
Yeah, the severance packages have to be there. And then there have to
How
be
many months of
re-employment
severance
stages.
is usually given?
Depends purely on companies. Purely on companies. And I think the states where you have these GC setups, the state governments will have to take larger precedence first on this to see if there is mass level of layoffs. There is a mechanism for some other company like a new GCC which is getting set up in that part of the world. Could there be re-employment options, or the companies themselves facilitate some level of hiring? Right? I think that is something which is there. I don't think so. In India, we have done much, but in EU, but specifically countries like Germany have made very stringent labor laws. So for you to lay off someone, it's equally tough. So states where you're seeing massive level of global capability centers being set up in India, you will have to bring out those labor laws more strongly. You can't be just like a sitting duck. Okay, we decide we'll lay off 10,000 people, 15,000 people suddenly, and it is not just these people.
That's
I just want to
precisely
make
what
a
my
point.
question here is. Usually these layoffs are decided abroad. You know, company heads are sitting in the US or wherever else and deciding that this is the
But they have an
layoff,
entity
this
here.
much, this is the percentage,
They have
15%,
to comply to labor
20%.
laws.
And here you have a ripple effect happening. Of course, orders being taken from people sitting there, executed here in India, and there's really nobody from the Indian government helping out, or the state governments.
They will have to take that role up. And it is not just those people, it is a full ecosystem, because there is a parallel economy along with these people which runs. People who takes them to office, people who provides food, all kinds of support systems, right? You've got crutches which are even set off. Suddenly you lay off, it impacts the entire city. I have seen cities getting impacted, regions within cities getting impacted because of these layoffs, because suddenly large tech company decided to let go of thousands of people. So you have to look at more holistically, right? That these job losses create enough issues for people living on ground. So I believe it's the responsibility of state government, not just of central government. And some certainly state governments will eventually see that they put up this pressure on these large tech companies. We are seeing that there's a new investment which Google is making in Visakhapatnam, right? $1 billion investment, which is going to create more jobs. So there have to be mechanisms where some of the politicians or political party leaders who look at some of these laws, norms will have to take the precedence and come forward and protect people. Otherwise, it's just going to be, we'll be run by these big tech companies who decide to hire and
that's
then
what's
fire
been happening.
people.
Initially we thought, okay, during the time of COVID, the entire globe was hit. India was no different. And now COVID is past. We're now looking at a future with India's GDP growing. We are looking at being the fourth largest economy in the world, third largest very soon. So when we have such a futuristic vision for India, the techies are really one vertical of the bone. When I say they're certainly the future for our country. They are young, they are energetic, and they're raring to go. They may not be skilled right now, but how possibly can the government ensure that they're absorbed elsewhere? Because this is precisely the force that we are banking on for our GDP to grow.
Absolutely. So I think one of the key parts which is here is that when these companies set up these global capability centers, specifically where they get tax incentives from the government, because they are usually set up in SEZ, where they pay very low on taxes, they've got subsidies on electricity, on power supply, which is coming in as well. So if they have to hire people, there should be a minimum tenure up to which people will have to be kept with them. It can't be suddenly you decide to shut off a big center. And we have seen this happening in US. A lot of times when businesses within the US have moved from one state to another state, certain states have started coming up with these norms that if you decide to withdraw from a specific state, then there are going to be penalties. So I think India will have to mature up in this journey, right? A lot of businesses which are setting up right now, you will have to have certain labor laws in place. And these precedents have to be set up in advance. It can't be just like a red carpet. You decide you will hire 15,000 people suddenly in one city, and then boom, after 2 years, you say you don't need these 15,000 people because you have built AI here in India, right? So you have to create a mechanism which is much needed. Otherwise, we'll be, just left to these large tech companies to decide the future on, and it does impact the economy of this country.
Impacts the economy and also the trust. The youth at this point have high hopes in the country, in the ones who are governing the country, hoping that they will be protected. But this rampant layoff, it's almost normalized now. That's what I said. These stories are trickling in so regularly for us. It was very hard for me to actually make a decision that I want to have this chat today yet again. Because how many times will I do it? And it's sad because we're looking at numbers of 10,000, 20,000, 15,000 jobs. It's a huge number. And these tech companies, and we're talking about big tech companies, right? They're relying heavily on Indian talent. And they come and employ Indian talent and then they just dump them when they need to. I'm not saying that Indian companies aren't reworking or restructuring to match up with AI, but international companies need to have some regulation. Should they not take the responsibility entirely to reskill or upskill their employees who they hire? Why should they hire them and fire them? Can't they not upskill them? Fine, the government won't do it, but shouldn't these companies have the responsibility to ensure that they upskill these employees? Could that work? Mr. Sharad Kohli?
I don't think so that's going to work. I'll let Sushant chime in. It is ultimately how the country is governed. EU is treated differently. India is treated far differently. So, until and unless there is a political will, I don't think so. Things are going to change.
All right. So, I'm going to catch that point. What you're trying to say is the same layoffs that are possibly happening in EU as well won't be happening so brazenly.
Why
do you say that?
Can I step
because
in,
the laws
Nabila?
in EU are very different. You just can't fire people. If you look at specifically Germany, the labor laws are very stringent.
That's it. I rest my case. That's precisely what I started off with. Should we not have something strong enough, a dedicated policy to protect our tech force? Sir, please go on.
Yes, Nabila, I don't want to sound like a devil's advocate here because I have complete sympathies with the people and I completely agree. Yes, we need sharp reforms in labor laws to give job protection. There's no doubt about that. But as of now, the ground reality is that when you join a company, it's between you and the company. The contract, if you read it in finer detail, lists out every single scenario. So when these people are being laid off, the clause in their employment contract was there from day one. We need to keep this in mind. I like to reiterate that I'm not playing devil's advocate. And another important point that we are missing here, Nabila, is that you look at what is common in these companies. TCS in America, working mostly for America. Amazon in America, Microsoft in America, Alphabet in America. What is common? The common thing is America. The global economy at this point of time, it's not just AI. We can take shelter behind AI. But the fact of the matter is that the global economy is not hunky-dory at this point of time. It is barely growing at about 3%. By March, you will find this growth coming down to 2.5%. Look what's happening in America. The policies being implemented by Trump administration, they are sinking the American economy. The dollar is sinking.
No,
so that
I
is
agree. I'm not denying any of that. But like also Kanish said, dare these companies do this in EU? They have stronger laws to protect them, right? That's precisely what our point here is. If these companies are trying to cost cut by hiring Indian talent, and it's efficient, Indian talent is very efficient. They know English, they're energetic, they're cheaper. So it's beneficial for them. So what kind of benefits are they, handing out to the employees? What kind of severance package are they giving them? You said you wanted to come in on that. What severance are they giving them?
So the severance package, it ranges, as Kanix rightly said, it ranges from companies to company to company. It's 6 months, 1 year. Some companies are good enough to give you 2 years, 3 years as well. That may be the package. But the point of the matter is that until and unless the laws are there, I completely support your contention. Yes, we need very, very big labor reforms here for job protection. But until these laws are there, my suggestion to all the people who are joining that please read your employment contract properly and be prepared to pack your bags anytime when the company tells you. They make these provisions on the very day that you join. That's the unfortunate part. But if there are laws to counter that, obviously corporations will not be able to do that. But then, it's all up to the employee. I would still not run away from the point that upskilling is the only solution. Let's look for a solution. The laws cannot be made, Nabila, overnight. The solution here is upskilling, upskilling and upskilling.
So what I ask Kanishk as well, upskilling within the company itself, shouldn't the company take responsibility to upskill them?
Well, company do upskill. Company have specialized training centers. There are various training sessions held, but they train you linearly. They train you on your own vertical that you are handling. AI is completely a different dimension. We should understand that AI is about automation. So you could be trained AI professional, but you're not a trained AI professional when it comes to automation of the overall department. And most of the people were not prepared. You know, companies will not train you when it's not linear. They will not train you when you're selling apples. They'll not train you on oranges. That's how it is. And AI was a completely different dimension. I think they were caught on the wrong foot. They were caught unprepared. I have full sympathies with them. Yes, labor law amendment is the solution, but a bigger solution and a quick fix solution is upskilling. There is no need to get disheartened. There's a lot of opportunity still there. I think they will find alternate job. It's not that they're going to be unemployed for rest of their life.
I hope so.
And I have found very successful entrepreneurs coming out of this situation as well, Nabila.
Yeah, one of the many. I'm not sounding pessimistic here, but that's precisely the mood among techies, and it's sad, right? It's just sad because it's also the festive season. You already have TCS laying off over 15,000 people in India, and some say the number is much higher. We don't know what the exact figure is, but it's just sad. I'm very heartbroken to see that one after the other tech companies, and be sure to our viewers, it's not just tech companies, it's media firms, it's all of us are right now on the edge, looking and staring at this churn that's happening, and it's scary. And which is why we're hoping and praying that there could be some kind of government intervention for a little bit of protection. There should be some protection that should be offered to its citizens who are tax paying, who are honest citizens, hoping for some protection from the country. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you for joining us on this. Hopefully this resonates and we have stronger laws soon. We're slipping into a short break. We'll be right back. On the other side, a techie in Kerala who committed suicide, claiming and alleging that an RSS member had sexually abused him since the age of 3 and he had had enough, and therefore he's killed himself. I'm going to take you through those details. It's now come into a whole political spin there of the story. Stay with us.
In association with Can't Do Without Servo 40 Extra from Indian Oil.
Alakazam fish disappear. Moonlight.
Smooth, silent, seamless. Sliding systems from headache.
Java 42, the answer.
You can take a left, you can take a right. Add a salsa or a little jive. If you really feel it, say it on price. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe.
इंडियन ऑयल स्वागत पेट्रोल पंप, क्योंकि स्वागत है हैप्पी जर्नी की रेसिपी।
Irregular periods and unbearable pain. उसके लिए क्या करूं?
2 स्पून काफी है। ये प्रॉब्लम दूर करने के लिए लायन डेट सिरप। इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन्स, किसी भी बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं। लायन डेट सिरप रोजाना 2 स्पून।
Stadiums got bigger. Hairstyles got shorter. Change surrounds the game. But Der Klassiker remains. Where legends rise and fans carry history. This is football as it's meant to be. The Klassiker.
Welcome back. Well, a very tragic case that's come to light of a Kerala techie who's allegedly committed suicide after being harassed by an alleged RSS member. Nearly a week. It's been a week after the death of 26-year-old software engineer Ananthu Ajin from Kerala's Kottayam district. Disturbing video has now surfaced from his laptop, one that's really shaken both the state and national political circles. In the video, this techie here, who's died by suicide, he describes how he was allegedly abused, sexually abused from the age of 3 by an RSS member at the RSS shakhas. He's named his alleged abuser as well, a man that he refers to as Nidhish Murlidharan. He claims that the trauma of him being sexually harassed over the years has really left him battling with mental health issues so severe, including obsessive compulsive disorder, that he developed OCD over time and he was so distressed, and that abuser is married, continues to be married and living a life while he suffers with absolute depression. Here's the video that the victim put out, which has now surfaced after his death. His mother found it on his laptop.
Lifelong rape ചെയ്യുന്നവർക്ക് rape ചെയ്തിട്ട് പോയാൽ മതി. Lifelong ആണ് എൻ്റെ suffering, lifelong. Till death ഞാൻ സഫർ ചെയ്യണം. കഴിഞ്ഞ 6 മാസമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഗുളിക എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ഈ ആൻറ്റി ഡിപ്രസൻസ് പിന്നെ ഓസിഡികളും വരുന്നത്. ഇതൊക്കെ കാരണമാണ് ഞാൻ ജീവിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. എൻ്റെ ലൈഫ് കുറച്ച് കഷ്ടപ്പാടായിരുന്നു. ഞാനൊരു വിക്ടിമാണ് ആക്ച്വലി, ഒരു റേപ്പ് വിക്ടിം. എനിക്ക് 3-4 വയസ്സുള്ളപ്പം മുതൽ എൻ്റെ വീടിനടുത്തുള്ള ഒരാൾ എന്നെ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ്ലി സെക്ഷലി അബ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ദാറ്റ്സ് വൈ ഐ ഗോട്ട് OCD. അതാണ് എൻ്റെ OCD എനിക്ക് ട്രിഗർ ആവാൻ കാരണം.
Now, the techie was found dead last Thursday in Thiruvananthapuram Lodge. A scheduled Instagram post, which appeared only after his death. He had scheduled it. In fact, it repeated the similar allegations that you heard here, that he was molested in his childhood at RSS camps, and that similar harassment continues at shakhas even today. That's what he said. His family discovered the pre-recorded clip on his laptop soon after. That's what we played out for you. Police have registered a case and said that all digital evidence, including the laptop and social media data, will all be examined. Investigators are also verifying the identity of the person named by the victim and the authenticity of the claims. Revelations have now triggered a full-blown political storm as expected. In Karnataka, the Congress government, Minister Kharge, alleges that RSS bears responsibility for this young man's death and called for a ban on RSS activities inside government institutions. His comment comes along with an ex-post where he's played an audio clip of the abuse and basically says that abusive, threatening calls he allegedly received, Priyank received after making those remarks as well. Well, we're going to take you through what Priyank Kharge has said.
This is the rule of many state governments. The Department of Personal and Administrative Reforms, Karnataka State Civil Services Conduct Rules 2021. Very clearly it states you cannot participate in political organizations or organizations that have political affiliation, and that's all we are telling them to enforce. We have been little lax on it. That's why we are seeing a lot of government officials batting on behalf of RSS. That is not their job. They have been given a specific job within the government to ensure better governance is delivered to the people. If they want to preach religion, if they want to preach RSS philosophy, we will be more than happy to allow them for voluntary retirement and let them actually join the party.
Well, that's Priyank Kharge, who's clearly said that the government does not allow for any of its government functionaries to be part of RSS events. That if they want to do so, then they can quit their job and then go join the RSS. This is a stern message coming in from Priyank Kharge, who said also very clearly that no RSS event will happen anywhere in schools or colleges in the state of Karnataka at least. The BJP has hit back hard, accusing Priyank Kharge of politicizing a personal tragedy and attempting to malign the RSS. Party leaders in both Kerala and Karnataka have said such comments only deepens the divide here. RSS has categorically denied this, all the charges that has been leveled by that boy, the techie, claiming that it's all entirely baseless and motivated, saying that it supports a fair and impartial investigation and has urged authorities to bring the truth to light. BJP speaks.
The unfortunate death in conspicuous circumstances of Sri Anandu Aji in Kottayam district of Kerala is very unfortunate and painful. At this point, Bharatiya Janata Party expresses its concern and sympathy towards the kids and kins of the bereaved. And we also strongly demand that there should be in-depth inquiry and free and fair inquiry at the earliest on this suspicious incidents, so that the wheel of suspicion which has been looming over it should be totally unveiled and the picture should clear.
Now, investigations continue. Questions, of course, linger. Will Anantu Ajin's story lead to accountability here? Will there be any kind of reform? Or will this all get lost in a political crossfire? Let me bring in our guest joining us, Satya Prakash, spokesperson of the KPCC, joining us, Karnataka Congress, Banu Chandar Nagarajan, who's a political analyst. Thank you both of you for speaking to News 9. Banu Chandar, your take. You know, we are looking at the RSS right now in a spot. They've just celebrated their centenary celebrations. And here's a boy who claims that he was abused sexually from the age of 3. And it was so bad that he's developed OCD and now finally decides to kill himself. He's scheduled a video so that once after his death, people find out, and at least this does not happen to anyone else. So just going by his version of the story here, do you believe that RSS should now at least initiate an internal inquiry? Just saying that these are motivated allegations, it's not, it has no base, etc., is not satisfying enough a response from the RSS?
So first of all, our collective heart should go out to the victim and the family of the victim. It's such a tragedy that life is lost at such a young age. I think, like, collectively as a society, we should take mental health more seriously. That said, a fair and impartial investigation has to be conducted, and the perpetrator, whoever it may be, should be brought to the books. There should not be, there are no second thoughts about it. And in terms of the allegations against the RSS in particular, we should not, go into group identities suddenly. We cannot, for example, if a crime is committed in a place of worship of any religion, we should not go ahead and tarnish the whole religion, right? So very similar, we should actually have a fair and impartial investigation and bring the perpetrator and offer the victim the justice, and that should be the aim instead of tarnishing based on group identities. We can talk about the other issue of the government employees later, I guess.
Question, Banu Chandar, you said that you can't, if it happens, if one incident happens with someone, you can't blame the entire community. I totally agree. But considering that this techie here says that it still continues to happen, on his last note, suicide note, or that video, he says abuse still continues in the RSS Shakha. So why should we believe that this is only an isolated case, and that it's not a pattern?
Absolutely, if that is the case, then the law enforcement authorities should go and investigate it. We should not, sling mud just like that, but we should go and investigate. And if something is wrong, we should correct it collectively, and that should be the spirit of it.
Do you believe that there should be a larger call for a internal inquiry? The RSS should carry out an internal inquiry. That's also, in a way, acknowledging that there is dirt and trying to, get to the bottom of it. Even if it's not true, great. If it's true, then at least you're dealing with it. But we haven't heard any of that coming in from the RSS, except for denial.
No, in your previous remarks itself, or the video, it was said that, I think Sudhanshu Trivedi perhaps said that there should be a thorough and impartial inquiry, and I don't know what else can be done other than mourn the loss of this very young life. So I think it is fair to demand an inquiry. Yeah, and every organization should actually do a self-search and see if there are processes that are going awry, and correction should be made.
All right. Satya Prakash, the Congress in Karnataka has taken a hard stance. Priyank Kharge says no RSS event will be allowed in any schools, colleges, and taking a step further, he says no government functionary will be allowed to attend any RSS event. If you want to, then quit your job and go join the RSS. As clear as he could say it, he said it with a order from the police force as well, a pre-written order. Give us a little more on the stance that you have taken, the Congress has taken in Karnataka.
Good evening, Nabila. See, all the government spaces, say the schools, the parks, the playgrounds, the colleges, are all secular spaces. These spaces belongs to all religions. These spaces doesn't belong to one particular organization which professes the one religion. So, Bishop Priyank Kharge has said very clearly that all the secular spaces should be, sanitized. No communal outfit should have space in that. As simple as that. So we have said that henceforth all secular, these public spaces have to be sanitized, and no communal organization like RSS should be there. Let us now analyze whether really it is a communal organization. What does the Indian Constitution say? Indian Constitution say India is a secular state. India is a secular Rashtra, Jatiyatita Rashtra. What does RSS say? It is a Hindu Rashtra. Therein itself shows its communal content. And how can we allow such a communal organization to enter our educational spaces and indoctrinate and put into young minds all this divisive thought? We are a country for all. Our society is a society for all. The Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, and our constitution. Our faith is to the constitution, the secular state. This thing is not to RSS. RSS says that it represents Hindus. I am a Hindu. It doesn't represent me. I have no faith in RSS. So at the most, you can say RSS represents a section of Hindus, not all Hindus. So how can we give these secular spaces to a communal organization is all what Priyank Kharge ji has said. Coming back to the second point, how can we allow our government employees who should uphold the secular structure of our constitution to get associated with a communal organization? If we allow government officers to put on government uniform in the day and put khaki knickers of RSS in the night, tomorrow some other organization will come and they will say we will be with the PFI. For us, every communal organization, whether it is PFI or RSS, no government employee should shed his secular character and go with any communal outfit is all what Priyank Kharge is saying. And look at what is happening. What has happened to the Kerala?
You call RSS entirely religious, etc. The central government on the 100 years of RSS released coins with the RSS's symbol, appreciating the RSS's work, so this is far more than just a religion.
I will tell you. See, that is why we are telling, for all those who say RSS is a cultural organization, no. It is a socio-political organization. It is an ideological arm of the BJP, and BJP is a political arm of RSS, as simple as that. Who is Mr. Narendra Modi? He is a pracharak of RSS. Who are all most of the chief ministers, they are pracharaks, they are from RSS. So if BJP says we have nothing to do with RSS, that's far from truth. If you ask any small child also, he will say both RSS does political duty for BJP. That is exactly what Mr. Priyank Kharge ji is telling. As a government employee, you should maintain the secular fabric of the constitution. You cannot we cannot allow our schools to be, they can be patashalas. They cannot be pracharakshalas of RSS. When we talk about RSS, similarly, we are talking about other religions too.
Banu Chandar, just a quick one. As I'm limited time, I have limited time here. Banu Chandar, not allowing schools, colleges, fine, but also a clear direction to government employees in Karnataka that they can't attend RSS events. If they have to, then they can leave their job. You've got to stick with secular values. Your take on that?
It's foolhardy and silly because RSS is a socio-political organization or socio-cultural organization, in fact, and it's not an arm of the BJP. If the government officer goes to a BJP office, then that is a different question altogether. But to attend a RSS event is something that should be okay, because the Constitution allows freedom of mingling, freedom of speech, so on and so forth. And this actually takes you down to a slippery slope, right? So there are government employees unions, right? They don't have a political they don't have a formal political backing, but there are political outfits behind each of this. Will you ban
My
that?
only thing is, Bhanuchandra Nagarajan, a quick one. If you're really calling this a religious outfit, then one should have the right to practice his or her religion. If I'm a government employee and I want to be part of a religious RSS camp, why should I not?
No.
As per my rights, I should be allowed to practice my religion the way I want to. How is me serving?
If neutrality and secularism is taken to the extreme, that's why I called it a slippery slope. Then you will say government employees should not go to temples, and they can even say that government employees should remain neutral and they should not even vote.
No, my only question here is, if you're calling it, Nagarajan, if Congress is calling it a religious outfit and you should stick with secular values, then it's a little, it's quite a paradox here. Because the government allows you to practice your religion the way you want to. If I'm finishing my duty today and going to an RSS event, as you call it a religious one, if I'm going to a religious event after my duty, why is it wrong?
Yeah, exactly. It is. That's what
let's have Nagarajan respond to that. Beg your pardon, Satya, respond to that.
Yeah. See, just imagine tomorrow the district magistrate of a district goes in a samavastra to a RSS shaka and comes and sits down in his office with the same thing. In a TV9 debate, one spokesperson came with a samavastra of the RSS. Tomorrow an SP goes to an RSS and puts on that RSS dress and has to come back and put the police dress. Do you mean to say that he will be doing justice for his? Just imagine tomorrow the assistant commissioner, the doctor, the engineer starts doing that. Will our society survive? Will government be able to do justice to all those who doesn't profess? For example, I am a Hindu. I don't believe RSS. RSS is never my representative. So how will I accept if a deputy commissioner or an SP or a Tahsildar or a PDO or a doctor of a government college comes with this and says that Sada Vatsale Matra Bhume? Why should I talk about that? I don't believe in all those principles. I don't believe in the divisive tactics of RSS. So please, we need to keep governance away from these communal organizations. Communal organizations have no space in governance. As simple as that.
All right.
We need to abide by the constitution.
All right, but what they do after their office hours is not really the government's business either.
Exactly. It's none of your business.
See, after that, he has to come back and perform the duty of the government.
But then you'll have an objection to me doing namaz, to me going to temple, to me going to church.
No. See, you please profess your religion. RSS is not a religion.
You said it is
a religion.
Okay.
It is an organization which
I really apologize. We've got we've got what you had to say. That's all I have time for. Sir, that's all I have time for.
It is an organization which didn't hoist the national flag for 52 years.
Okay, we rest with that. Of course, at this point, investigation continues into that very death of the techie. He blames the RSS camp in Shaka in Kerala of sexually abusing him. He says that it's a practice that's continued. I mean, it's happened to him, and he says it happens even till date. Now, if that's a pattern, then it's a serious allegation. It must be investigated. We will continue tracking the story closely. Thank you very much. All right, a quick look at all our top stories. Let me start with our story from Karnataka on caste census. The decision of Infosys founder Narayan Murthy and his wife Sudha Murthy of not participating in the caste census in Karnataka has now ignited political conundrum. Congress leader Priyank Kharge has slammed the Rajya Sabha MP Sudha Murthy over her reported remarks on caste census. He said it was surprising that a member of parliament made such a statement, adding that the caste census is a government initiative and participation is not optional. He further remarked that Sudha Murthy appeared to be inspired by other BJP leaders and that saying she would not take part in the survey was really not right. Priyank Kharge is speaking on this, on Sudha Murthy saying, I don't believe in caste survey, so I won't participate.
Census is a government initiative. First of all, it's a survey which includes a lot of other information also. It is surprising that a member of parliament says such things. Obviously, I think it is an inspiration from other BJP leaders or the court direction saying it is voluntary. But more is expected of people like them, because they've inspired a lot of generations, and they continue to do so. But saying that I will not participate in a government survey is not good. You could have.
All right, it's interesting to see. Priyank Kharge on one hand says it's not optional. DK Shivkumar says it's their wish. We can't force them. Well, in a written reply to the commission, the Murthy's had said that they don't belong to any backward community and therefore they do not want to take part in the caste survey, calling it irrelevant to them and of no use to the government. Karnataka government ordered surveys, remember, seeking details, caste and socio-economic data across the state, but has already now sparked enough of a political debate on that, adding another layer of this to this controversy. Industry veteran Mohandas Pai has also come out in support of the Murthys, as expected, saying that the government should focus on growth and development instead of caste or appeasement politics. Now, speaking of Bengaluru, in fact, this is real road rage, what we saw. Bengaluru traffic policeman has been suspended after a video surfaced showing him slapping a youth near the busy Silk Board junction. The viral video was shared by a social media platform on X, which criticized the violent and disrespectful behavior by the traffic cop, saying that law must apply equally to all. I'm going to show you a snippet of what happened. Many questioning if this is real road rage. A traffic police slapping a citizen there, whatever be the reason, why should you raise your hand? He's quite rightly been suspended. According to the police, the incident took place when the rider was stopped for riding in the wrong way. Officials say that the man continued to argue with the cop and the situation quickly escalated and therefore he was slapped. Though Deputy Commissioner of Police Traffic South said accountability and respect go hand in hand and confirmed that disciplinary action has been taken against that said cop for misbehavior. All right, a quick look at Elvish Yadav. In a major development, the Enforcement Directorate has filed a charge sheet against singer Fazil Puria and YouTuber Elvish Yadav under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. The case stems from the use of protected wild animals like snakes and iguanas in their videos violating Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. FIR has been registered in Badshahpur Police Station, Haryana. Names both under Section 51 of the Wildlife Protection Act and Section 11A of Protection of Cruelty to Animals Act. ED found that Fazil Puria's YouTube song, 32 Bore, and Elvish Yadav's blog featured live snakes and iguanas. Frame by frame, analysis confirmed their presence in that video. Investigation reveals that 32 Bore video earned nearly $1,477, approximately 1.2 lakh rupees, as that video went out and became viral. So clearly now it appears that they are in the dock. Elvish Yadav earned around 84,000 rupees, which has also been frozen just based on that video. So using these wild animals in videos is illegal, and here clearly finally Elvish Yadav has been booked after much of the hue and cry. And a final look at the story that surely reminds many of the iconic scene from the popular Hirani film, Three Idiots, where we saw Amir Khan delivering a baby, Amir Khan's character Rancho delivering a baby with no medical assistance. This is what happened in Madhya Pradesh. An individual named Vikas Bendre played the role of Rancho, where he helped a woman deliver her baby on a train platform with instructions from a female doctor, Devika Deshmukh, all on a video call. The incident took place morning at Mumbai's Ram Mandir railway station. Musician Manjeet Dillon shared this clip and praised the man for his quick thinking and the doctor who stayed patiently on that video call and helped him through this delivery in a public platform. Kudos to him. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have a great weekend.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा के संग त्योहार की उमंग।
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every scene, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
Big Daddy of elections has arrived. Or will Bihar, Gen Z, usher in change? Have they emerged as a substantial vote base? We have been able to indigenously develop a system which a lot of countries aspire. We have also drawn that red line, and that's the best part. Donald Trump has been keeping everybody guessing. There are things you can negotiate and there are things you cannot negotiate. The Americans never expected such a tough line from the Indians. You confront a bully up front, you know.
That goat is long dead, but Cyrus Bhai are still alive. Kemcho. This is God's office calling. You're not a VIP, so God won't speak directly, but here's the deal. You have been granted a second chance with a brand new news show.
Thank you very much. Just one thing. You said two more lives. So I'll first be a newsman who wins awards, and second I'll be
cockroach.
Better make this show last. No hurry to, be a cockroach. Let's stay here for a little while. Don't want to be a cockroach. Apparently, they have lots of issues, like being stamped upon. Which is the same thing as a newsman. I mean, they're not that different.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
US President Donald Trump holds a telephonic call with Russia's President Vladimir Putin ahead of Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky's White House visit for war aid talks. Trump calls the conversation a lengthy one in a post on Truth Social. Trump set to meet Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House to discuss Ukraine's air defense and long-range strike capabilities. U.S. Justice Department to seek a grand jury indictment of former National Security Advisor John Bolton for possible mishandling of classified information. Shots fired at Kapil Sharma's Caps Cafe in Canada's Surrey. For the third time in 4 months, the Lawrence Bishnoi gang claims responsibility on social media. A report suggests that plug-in hybrid cars emit nearly 5 times more pollution than official figures and fail to reduce emissions compared to fully electric vehicles. A new study warns that the world is set to face nearly 2 extra months of dangerous super hot days annually by the end of this century, with poorer nations being hit the hardest. After US President Donald Trump made bold claims that India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised him that he will stop buying Russian oil, India's Ministry of External Affairs has now fact-checked the US President. India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal clarified that no talks took place between Prime Minister Modi and US President Trump. Listen in to what India's Minister of External Affairs had to say.
On the issue of energy sourcing, we have made a statement. This was put out in the morning today. We would request you to look at that particular statement for the questions that you have. On the question of whether there was a conversation or a telephone call between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, I am not aware of any conversation yesterday between the two leaders.
India's Ministry of External Affairs fact-checking US President Donald Trump's claim that Prime Minister Modi promised him that he will stop buying Russian oil. India heading back and clarifying that no such conversation, no such talks took place between India's Prime Minister and the US President. Now, earlier too, India's Ministry of External Affairs had responded to Donald Trump's claims that India has assured him about curbing its oil imports from Russia. Responding to the claim, the Ministry of External Affairs released a statement saying that India is a significant importer of oil and gas and its priority is to safeguard the interests of the Indian consumers. The statement further read, and I quote here, "Where the US is concerned, the current administration has shown interest in deepening energy cooperation with India. Discussions are ongoing on the same," unquote. Now, US President Trump had earlier asserted that India's action will help in his push to isolate Russia over the war in Ukraine.
We have a great relationship. No, we were not happy with him buying oil from Russia, because that lets Russia continue on with this ridiculous war where they've lost 1.5 million people, by the way. Russia's lost 1.5 million people, soldiers mostly. This is a war that should have never started, but it's a war that Russia should have won in the first week, and they're going into the 4th year. And I want to see it stop. So I was not happy that India was buying oil. And he assured me today that they will not be buying oil from Russia. That's a big stop. Now I got to get China to do the same thing. You know, that is relatively easy compared to what we just did over the last week in the Middle East. Middle East was 3,000 years, and we got it done. This is 3 years, and I think we'll get it done. I think that President Putin, I think he wants to get it done. We'll see. There's a great animosity between him and Zelensky. You probably have noticed, right? And I think it's hurting the process. Yeah.
Now, Trump had also said that India could not immediately halt shipments, calling it a little bit of a process. But that process is said to be over soon.
He's a great man, you know. Modi is a great man. That he loves Trump. Now, I don't know if the word love, I don't want you to take that any different. I don't want to destroy his political career, okay? But you have to understand, I've watched India for years. It's an incredible country. And every single year you'd have a new leader. I mean, some would be in there for a few months. And this was year after year after year. And my friend has been there now for a long time. And he's assured me there will be no oil purchased from Russia. I don't know, maybe that's a breaking story. Can I say that? Would you say? There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started. You know, you can't do it immediately. It's a little bit of a process. But the process is going to be over with soon.
Now, amidst his latest claim, Trump also called India a reliable partner and Prime Minister Modi a friend with whom he shares a great relationship. This comes as Trump's latest salvo has raised political temperatures in India. Another Gen Z protest has erupted, and this time in Peru, in South America. Tensions have flared up in Peru's capital Lima as police clashed with demonstrators protesting against the newly sworn-in interim president, Jose Guerri, less than a week after he took office amidst a sudden political upheaval in Peru. Peru is once again on the edge. Riot police in Lima fired tear gas to disperse hundreds of protesters who tried to storm the parliament building, the first major show of dissent since the new president took office. Crowds gathered near the legislative palace, tearing down security barriers and setting flags ablaze before being pushed back by the police. The protests erupted just 6 days after President Dina Boluarte was ousted and replaced by Guerri, who was next in line as head of Peru's Congress. Demonstrators are accusing the political class of corruption and have demanded sweeping reforms, including a new constitution and tougher measures against crime. The unrest was not limited to Lima city. Similar rallies were reported in other cities, though without major violence. Adding to the anger, the new president, Jose Guerri himself, has faced past allegations of sexual assault from a 2024 party incident. Though that case was dropped in August this year for lack of evidence, many Peruvians remain unconvinced. Some protesters even chanted insults, calling him violin, a Spanish slang term implying a rapist. As the tear gas cleared, one message rang out loud and clear. Peru's streets remain restless and Guerri's leadership is already under fire. Meanwhile, thousands of people have taken to the streets in Tunisia's coastal city of Gabes, protesting against severe pollution linked to the state-run chemical group's phosphate complex. The protesters, carrying banners and chanting slogans like "We want to live" and "Gabes is crying out for help," marched through the city towards Chat Es-Salam, the coastal suburb where the factory is located. Witnesses say police fired tear gas to disperse the crowds as they neared the plant. The protests, which began last week, have grown larger with every passing day, reflecting deep frustration among residents who accuse authorities of ignoring years of toxic waste and environmental neglect. The phosphate industry is a key source of revenue for Tunisia, but it has also been blamed for water and air pollution in the region. The unrest now poses a fresh challenge for President Kais Saied's government, which is already battling a financial crisis and fears that the demonstrations could spread to other parts of the country. Huge crowds of mourners turned out to receive the body of Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga a day after he died in India. The body arrived at a stadium where crowds were already inside with more people waiting outside. Police used tear gas to disperse the crowd at Odinga's public viewing. Kenya's veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga, who was imprisoned while fighting one-party autocracy and ran 5 times unsuccessfully for the presidency, died at the age of 80.
Kenya's Raila Odinga, a veteran opposition leader at the heart of the country's politics for decades, has died at the age of 80, people close to him have said. A family source said on Wednesday that Odinga had passed away in India while receiving medical treatment. His hospital said he had suffered a cardiac arrest. In response, hundreds of Kenyans took to the streets of the capital Nairobi, crying and waving twigs to ward off bad omens as they formed a procession to his home.
Now we are mourning Odinga. It is really sad. We have lost a leader who fought for the rights of Kenyans.
As a democracy activist, Odinga leaves a legacy that helped seal 2 of Kenya's most important reforms, multi-party democracy in 1991 and a new constitution in 2010. He was first jailed in 1982 after a coup attempt against then-President Daniel Arap Moi, whose government jailed, tortured and murdered opponents. Odinga served a total of 9 years in jail, 6 in solitary confinement. In 2007, he led protests after a disputed election. Kenya was plunged into its most serious political violence since independence.
There must be justice, truth. That's when there will be peace. There can be no peace when there's injustice.
Around 1,300 people were killed and hundreds of thousands displaced from their homes. The violence led to a power-sharing government, with Odinga as Prime Minister. In that role, he pushed for a new constitution that, after a 2010 referendum, ushered in sweeping reforms.
No one could have thought that out of the bitter harvest of the disputed elections and the violence that pitted our people against each other just 2 years ago, we would be witnessing today the birth of a national unity that has eluded us for more than 40 years.
Odinga ran for the presidency, unsuccessfully, 5 times. However, he was often near the levers of power through deals struck with his opponents, a knack that earned him the nickname Agwambo, meaning the mysterious one. Odinga's last bid for the presidency was in 2022. He lost to incumbent President William Ruto and challenged the result, which was then upheld by the Supreme Court. Undeterred, Odinga launched street protests, only to strike a pact with Ruto in 2024, effectively leaving Kenya without an official opposition. On Wednesday, world leaders issued their condolences, with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi calling Odinga a towering statesman, and Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan describing his death as a tragedy not just for Kenya, but for all of us.
Now, the clash between Pakistan and Afghanistan may have paused, but tensions remain far from over. Last week, Pakistan believed it had finally struck a major blow against terror when an airstrike in Kabul targeted a convoy suspected to be carrying Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan chief Noor Wali Masood. But the strike failed. Afghanistan and Pakistan later said that Masood survived, and soon after, an audio message allegedly from him surfaced online. Later, an unverified video also appeared in which Masood accused Islamabad of running a deliberate disinformation campaign. This was the first such strike inside Kabul since the year 2022, and it underscores Pakistan's growing frustration with Afghanistan's Taliban rulers, who it accuses of sheltering Masood and his fighters. The Afghan Taliban, however, continues to deny providing any safe haven to the TTP leadership. So while the guns may have fallen silent for now, tensions between the two neighbors over cross-border militancy are anything but over. US President Donald Trump confirmed that he authorized the CIA, or the Central Intelligence Agency, to conduct covert operations in Venezuela, marking a sharp escalation in US efforts to pressure Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro's government. Take a look at this report for more details.
U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed on Wednesday that he authorized the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct covert operations in Venezuela.
I authorized for two reasons, really.
Trump told reporters his reasons were migration of Venezuelans to the U.S. and drug trafficking. Trump has, in recent months, ordered a large U.S. military buildup in the southern Caribbean. Troops have conducted at least 5 strikes on vessels the Trump administration has described as involved in drug trafficking, without providing evidence. The CIA authorization marks a sharp escalation in U.S. efforts to pressure President Nicolas Maduro's government. The New York Times first reported the classified directive, citing U.S. officials familiar with the decision. The report said the Trump administration's Venezuela strategy aims to remove Maduro from power. Trump declined to answer when asked if the CIA has the authority to execute Maduro.
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela's feeling heat.
Venezuela's government said Trump's remarks constituted a violation of international law and said U.S. actions were aimed at legitimizing a, quote, regime change operation with the goal of seizing the country's oil resources. Venezuela's foreign minister said his country would raise a complaint with the UN Security Council and Secretary General. Reuters could not independently determine what specific actions Trump has authorized, and the White House declined to elaborate on the president's comments.
A Thai soldier on patrol near a disputed stretch of the border between Thailand and Cambodia stepped on a landmine and severed his ankle on the 16th of July. This incident was a catalyst to 5 days of hostilities between the neighbors, which ended with a US brokered ceasefire. It also sparked a diplomatic row over PMN-2s, a Soviet-origin anti-personnel mine that litters parts of Cambodia, and which Phnom Penh and Bangkok have pledged by treaty not to use. And now experts say that the landmines look like they were newly laid. More in this report.
Step by step, these Thai soldiers methodically sweep the ground with metal detectors, eyes fixed on the soil beneath them. On July 16th, near a disputed stretch of the Thai-Cambodia border, one soldier on patrol stepped on a landmine, severing his ankle. That incident ignited 5 days of hostilities between Thailand and Cambodia, which ended with a US-brokered ceasefire. It also triggered a diplomatic dispute over the use of this landmine. Known as a PMN-2, it's a Soviet-era anti-personnel mine that both nations have pledged by treaty not to use. Thailand accuses Cambodia of laying these devices along parts of their joint frontier. Cambodia denies the accusations, saying that some Thai soldiers stepped on old ordnance planted during its decades-long civil war. 4 independent experts, asked by Reuters to evaluate visual material provided by the Thai military and photographs taken by the news agency, said the images depicted PMN-2s that had been freshly laid. While they couldn't say for certain who placed the ordnance, one said there were clues.
There is indication they were placed deliberately on patrol paths, and in one case they were placed in a cluster that was deliberately designed so that when the first person stepped on a mine, others who went to help him would also step on mines.
Andrew Vian Smith, a UK-based independent specialist, was one of those experts who studied the material.
The fragments from July the 16th actually show part of the initiation delay bellows inside this mine. I can show you it if you want. And that's unique to that mine. It also has bits of distorted plastic, which is the same type as that mine. So I've no doubt that the July 16th one were definitely part of the PMN-2.
Cambodia's Mine Action Authority said in a public statement that the mine that exploded on July 16th was not a PMN2, instead suggesting that mines of American, Chinese or Vietnamese origin might have been responsible. The agency's first vice president, Lee Tuk, who reports directly to Prime Minister Hun Manet, said visual appearance alone is not conclusive proof of age.
As I told you, because it was a mine led for over 2 decades or 3, and there were erosion, there was vegetation and flooding areas, so mine have been moving around, and that they remain as a fresh mine, but they are all mines. And we can see when the incident happened, if they were new mines, casualty will be more serious.
Asked how he determined it was not a PMN2, Tuk said it was a preliminary assessment of, quote, the injury pattern reportedly observed on the limited open information available to us. Phnom Penh has long positioned itself as a global advocate against landmines, investing some $1 billion alongside foreign donors over the past 30 years in demining operations. Cambodia's turbulent history, including the Khmer Rouge era, left behind one of the world's most mine-contaminated regions, around a 650-mile stretch along the Thai-Cambodia border. Since peace efforts began in 1991, around 1,200 square miles have been cleared, yet PMN2s remain a deadly legacy. Over the past 2 years alone, more than 1,800 such devices have been found and deactivated.
And with that, it's a wrap here from my side. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Associate sponsor Bank of Baroda के संग त्योहार की उमंग.
Alakazam face disappear. Moonlight.
Smooth, silent, seamless. Sliding systems from headache.
नई गाड़ी लेनी पड़ेगी
हमें भी
शोरूम खोलो जल्दी
अंदर महंगा इंश्योरेंस बेचने की पूरी कोशिश हो सकती है जबरदस्ती
कौन करेगा जबरदस्ती खोड़ दूंगा इधर मैं कम लाकर नई गाड़ी के लिए हम एको कार इंश्योरेंस ही लेंगे
फेयर प्राइस कम प्रीमियम
बात खत्म
अरे सर बात खत्म कार का एक्शन हीरो एको
You can take a left, you can take a right. And it's also a little time. If you really feel it, say it on price. It's the vibe, it's the vibe, it's the vibe. पापा भूख लगी है मुझे भी वॉशरूम जाना है
पेट्रोल भी भराना पड़ेगा
सब मिलेगा इंडियन ऑयल स्वागत पेट्रोल पंप पे हर जर्नी को परफेक्ट बनाने के लिए इंडियन ऑयल स्वागत जैसी सुविधाएं चाहिए क्योंकि स्वागत है हैप्पी जर्नी की रेसिपी
मेरी बेटी के अभी से बाल झड़ रहे हैं मैं क्या करूं
2 स्पून ही काफी है लायन डेट सिरप इसमें आयरन फाइबर्स विटामिन्स और किसी भी बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है आयरन यानी बाल झड़ने से रोकथाम रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं
लायन डेट सिरप
रोजाना 2 स्पून
Look, this investment Guru's tips will double your money. Just claim the offer.
Double your money from any random group. Pay attention. Promising double returns, they'll lure you in tight. Unverified groups will send fake tips overnight, emptying your pockets before you can fight.
Well said! Well said! Well said!
SEBI and NSE advise consult only SEBI registered advisors and make payments only to verified accounts or UPI IDs. An investor awareness initiative by SEBI and NSE.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to our favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. And on the segment tonight, the saffron storm that brews in Bengaluru as Karnataka's Congress government draws a red line around the RSS. The state cabinet made a move to clamp down on its activities in schools and public spaces. State Minister Priyank Kharge thunders about officers attending these events and bad-mouthing the Congress regime, invoking service rules to demand ironclad political neutrality. He has zeroed in on government officers allegedly moonlighting at RSS events and indulging in anti-government tirades that cross the line from cultural chat to political poison. Kharge argues that RSS, despite its denials, reeks of political leanings. He also claims that it has turned participation into a blatant violation of conduct norms. Now, what's the fallout, you may ask? Show cause notices already flying to implicated servants, with suspensions lurking like shadows if explanations fall flat. It's a crackdown that's got the administrative machinery buzzing and the political wires crossed. But what do the rule books really say? Whilst looking at the fine print, and it's a tale of two codes clashing like tectonic plates. The Central Civil Services Conduct Rules of 1964, under Rule 5, Subclause 1, have long forbidden government staff from affiliating with or assisting political parties or movements that dabble in the electoral dark arts. A broad brush meant to keep the bureaucracy's hands clean. Fast forward to 2024. Union government lifted the bar on RSS participation for central employees, explicitly deeming the organization a non-political entity focused on character building and cultural revival. Karnataka's own 2021 rules mirrors this rigidity in Rule 5 Subclause 1, slamming the door on officials cozying up to any political organization or movement, no exception spelled out for the saffron fold. And Kharge's gambit hinges on that grey zone of RSS using cultural camouflage for covert campaigning.
You are having a function outside your house. You seek permission from the local authorities.
Those are public
Similar,
places, not
yes.
government premises.
Public places and government premises. You seek permission, right? All we are saying is seek permission. Whether it's a government institution, aided institution, government grounds, gardens, public places, anything. You cannot march at your whims and fancies. You will not be allowed to brandish sticks and intimidate people with slogans. Karnataka State Civil Services Conduct Rules 2021. Very clearly it states you cannot participate in political organizations or organizations that have political affiliation. And that's all we are telling them to enforce. We have been little lax on it. That's why we are seeing a lot of government officials batting on behalf of RSS. That is not their job. They have been given a specific job within the government to ensure better governance is delivered to the people. If they want to preach religion, if they want to preach RSS philosophy, we will be more than happy to allow them for voluntary retirement and let them actually join the party. Let them join the association. Let them join the Sangh. We have no problems with that. But as long as you are taking salaries from the government of Karnataka, you have to follow the conduct rules of Karnataka government. As simple as that.
आरएसएस कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे, केवल संस्कार देने का काम करता है. बाकी काम स्वयं सेवक उन्हें उत्तर देता है, उनका काम में, उनका वाणी में उत्तर देता है. आरएसएस का काम राष्ट्र को भला करता है, समाज को भला करता है. उसको छोड़ेगा तो नुकसान किसको? देश का नुकसान होगा, राष्ट्र को नुकसान होगा। वो राष्ट्र को नुकसान हो जाएगा तो किसको लाभ मिलेगा? राष्ट्रद्रोहियों को लाभ मिलेगा।
प्रियंका खरगे का मानसिक संतुलित वो तो बिगड़ गया है। His only credibility is he is a son of मल्लिकार्जुन खरगे। उसके ही जिला में भाग्यवती सुसाइड किया, क्यों किया? लाइब्रेरियन थी, 3 महीने से उसको पगार नहीं दिया। प्रियंका खरगे उसके बारे में सोचना चाहिए। He should not think about RSS. No one could do anything because Nehru ji tried. Indira Gandhi ji tried. If they cannot do anything for RSS, then how you can do?
Well, now this isn't Karnataka's solo act. It's a sequel in the endless Sarkar versus Sangh saga playing out across India's federal stage. Flashback to Tamil Nadu in 2021, where the DMK government swung the hammer, banning RSS shakhas on public premises and reining in activities to safeguard against communal sparks. A move that RSS slammed as stifling voluntary service. And cut to Kerala in 2023, where the LDF government barred RSS from Devaswam board temples and mounted a vigilance dragnet on staff with Sangh ties, enforcing neutrality with the zeal of a monsoon downpour. Elsewhere, bans in Rajasthan, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh that once choked RSS operations have all been lifted amid court rebukes and public policy pivots. So, is the Congress government teetering on a sticky wicket here? The centre's benevolent nod to RSS as non-political hangs like a sword over Karnataka's unilateral flex. BJP leaders are already baying for blood, accusing Kharge and Chief Minister Siddaramaiah of weaponizing bureaucracy to settle scores, turning service rules into selective shackles that ignore RSS's volunteer legions in disaster relief and education. Last year, the Madhya Pradesh High Court didn't hold back, torching an old ban as irrational and green-lighting RSS ties for social and cultural pursuits as long as politics stayed sidelined. But the big questions that we are asking tonight, and we've got an expert set of panelists with us, is the Congress government on a sticky wicket by taking a harder line than central rules now require? Does participating in RSS functions genuinely violate the spirit of neutrality? With me here on the broadcast, Professor Sangeet Ragi, political analyst. Very warm welcome to you. Satya Prakash, Vice Chairman and Spokesperson, KPCC. Many thanks. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Senior journalist Vijay Grover. Many thanks for taking out the time, sir. And Karan Verma, political analyst, also with us on the broadcast. So essentially, gentlemen, the Congress wants the Sangh out of the Sarkar over there. BJP deems it is the soul of the nation and nationalism. Mr. Kharge calls RSS unconstitutional. BJP calls it the backbone of Bharat. And can both be right? That's another question to ask. The centre has lifted the ban, but this state, we're talking about again, has reimposed it. Are we seeing a federal flashpoint? Neutrality or nationalism? What should be guiding our Babus, India's bureaucracy and Babus? Let's start with Congress first, Mr. Satya Prakash. For the BJP calls this particular move, Mr. Satya Prakash, a witch hunt and says that the RSS is cultural, it's not political. And I'm also asking another question because I was going through several social media posts. It says, when Rahul Gandhi, your own leader, comes and talks about saving the constitution, how does banning RSS and the events in schools align with freedom of association under Article 19 and several of those provisions that are out there? Let's get the snowball rolling. Mr. Satya Prakash.
Good evening, Kabir. RSS and BJP are peddling lies again. The RSS is not banned in Karnataka. Two things have happened. What are the two things? First thing is, all public places and all the institutions that belong to the government are places of neutrality. It doesn't belong to any religion. Every religion, it belongs to every citizen of irrespective of which religion he belongs. So what the first thing is, neutrality of public places should be maintained. RSS, which is an organization which professes communal ideology and indoctrines communal ideology into the minds of young people, we have asked them, the public spaces, the government spaces, not to be given to such organizations. If any organization from Muslim hardline community or Christian hardline community also wants to come there, we will not allow. As clear as that, point number one. We are going to maintain the neutrality of those institutions. We are going to maintain the secular fabric or secular content of those institutions, point number one. Okay. Second thing is, we will not allow today what Mr. Priyank Kharge has written letter is, all the government employees who are servants of the government should not wear uniform, government uniform in the morning and wear Sangh uniform in the night, or wear Sangh uniform, Samavastra Ganavesha on RSS day or something, because they also, like the government institutions, the government employees too should maintain neutrality of religion, caste, creed, everything. And as per their service rules, Rule 5.1 of the Karnataka service rules, it clearly says no one should have any connection with any political party or organization which professes political ideology. Now let me come back to the Sangh. Doesn't Sangh, the RSS, work with the BJP? Doesn't RSS go and work on election duty? On election, this thing, go and work for the BJP? Don't BJP and Sangh. Sangh is the ideological arm of BJP and BJP is the political arm of ideology. You go and ask any small kid also, he will tell. We have seen the MLAs, the chief ministers, the ministers donning RSS uniform.
Okay.
And this is against neutrality is all Mr. Priyank Kharge is saying. We have not banned RSS. We have no right to ban RSS. Only the central government can ban RSS.
Yeah, we know, we understand. The order talks about regulating and reining in RSS activities. They say, Priyank Kharge said that take due permission. But, just a couple of days back, Priyank Kharge himself had spoken about banning RSS, and now he's only softened his blow. He talks about regulating now. He says take permission, but God knows, will he ever allow any RSS event to take place? That's another thing altogether. Let's bring in other people also in this. Let's bring in other people, Mr. Satyaprakash. We heard your first few points. Mr. Verma, let me come to you very quickly. As a political analyst, where do you stand on this? The Congress's bureaucracy must remain apolitical. From what Mr. Satyaprakash was just telling us, it seems like the BJP and the RSS are intertwined. They are, of course, helping out each other. So, is it really apolitical? Where do you stand on this particular front? Government officers attending RSS shakhas, that's all right. But according to Priyank Kharge, to use the same platform to spew venom against the current dispensation, jo khud aapki salaries de rahe hain, is that a credible argument, according to you?
So Priyank Kharge is a habitual habitual of spewing venom. We remember that time. You would remember when it was said that Sanatan should be eradicated. Joseph Stalin said it. When Priyank Kharge was asked for a response on it, he said, yes, if something has not given people equality, that's what should be done. So we are talking about a man who comes from that background. And but
is there logic and rationale behind what he uttered today?
Yes, let me complete my viewpoint, then you can butt in. For Mr. Satyaprakash to say what is the political arm of what, let me tell you what's happening in Karnataka right now. PFI is banned. Its arm has been SDPI and Campus Front of India, which are very much active in Karnataka. And the Karnataka government today of the Congress party is the political arm of Campus Front of India and SDPI. Right from the time they came in power, every single principle, whether it was taking back the hijab ban by the Karnataka High Court, whether it was coming up with the anti-conversion law, whether it was a blanket reservation for Muslims in OBC, each and every single move, right from Anganwadi teachers, where Urdu was made mandatory for their appointment, every single move has been pointed towards appeasement. Now, what is shameful is RSS has been invited in the past by Lal Bahadur Shastri, the Prime Minister, on 7th September 1965 for an all-party meeting. Golwalkar ji, you can check that, 7th September 1965. Pandit Nehru invited RSS for the Republic Day after the 1962 war, praising their efforts. So what are you talking here? It is an organization that has been talked about by a B.R. Ambedkar to Mahatma Gandhi. Everyone has talked about their experiences of visiting shakas. It is a social organization. Unlike you, who backs the SDPI and Campus Front of India. आपकी बातों में ना सत्य है, ना प्रकाश है. ना सत्य है आपकी बातों में, ना प्रकाश है. That is what the Congress in Karnataka unfortunately is reduced to.
Involved in Gandhi's murder. They belong to the RSS. You don't forget that also.
Don't talk. You will have to apologize in court like Rahul Gandhi had to. You will have to apologize in court just as Rahul Gandhi had to. Don't show your ignorance.
Keep
Don't show your
Mahatma
ignorance
Gandhi
here.
statue and fire on the father of the nation. This is the
And for him to
DNA
say
of
that-
Before we
RSS.
move on,
This
we've
is
got a
about
senior
that
journalist
also.
waiting on the other side. I need to go across to Mr. Vijay Grover. But before that, Mr. Verma, you did not essentially answer my question. You said I could butt in after you were through with your viewpoint. I'm saying government officers attending RSS shakhas, that's okay. But to use that platform to spew venom against the government, which is paying your salary, is that right or wrong is one question that I asked. That's it.
The freedom of speech. Look, RSS is a social organization. Every individual has a right to give an opinion on the current dispensation.
But there are services rules. There is a code of conduct at play. There is a code of conduct at play.
Freedom of speech under reasonable restrictions.
Mr. Grover. And, Professor Ragi, many thanks
how
for
is RSS
patiently
involved in
waiting.
that?
We will come to you next. Mr. Grover, let me come to you very quickly. Has neutrality become this moving goalpost now, sir? Shifting whichever party is in power. What precedent does this new tug of war set for us? Because does the Karnataka government have the legal footing to do something like that? Let's understand that there is a national order that is in place, but states are, free to, bring about their own laws. And why I'm essentially asking you this is because are we witnessing a politicization of bureaucracy or a bureaucratization of politics?
Well, Kabir, let me clarify over here. I have seen the RSS very closely from childhood because a lot of my family members have held positions in the RSS, and I have seen it right since school time. And let me tell you, the RSS of the pre-internet or the pre-social media era was far different from the RSS that we see today. Today, you have these social media supporters who do not care a damn about whether they're hurting somebody's sentiment or whether they are, triggering emotions or fanning communal violence. That is something. And let me tell you, the RSS that we've seen, or what we've seen growing up during my school time and the college time, my parents, father including, they were the first ones to help whenever there was a crisis, be it a flood or a famine or a rail accident in the thing. They were there. I'm talking of the 70s, 80s and that era. Yep. But today, what do we see? Today, we only see hate propaganda. We only see people using RSS name, to propagate or create that kind of. The BJP needs the RSS more than the RSS needs the BJP. That is one thing that I want to clear over here. And Karan Verma, let me tell you, this is one thing very clear over here. The RSS by itself, it's very unfortunate that in the 100th year of the RSS, we are talking like this about, the kind of communal tensions and this kind of a thing. This is an organization which is grown, and it should have evolved the way it was expected to be evolved. But unfortunately, the offshoots of the RSS, be it the Bajrang Dal, be it the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, be it the Ram Sena and all these are the ones which have brought discredit to the RSS. And that's something which is very dangerous, because today there is nobody who can control. And till such time, Sudarshanji was the Sarsang Chalak. Let me tell you, the kind of knowledge that he would share, the speech that he shared, that is something which I still remember and appreciate. But the online shakhas, the kind of, the propagation that we have seen on the social media certainly has done more damage than it has done good for the RSS. That is something that we need to remember and understand. And if today Priyank Kharge or the Karnataka government are saying that the government rules should enforce that RSS activity cannot be carried out on government premises or by the government officials, it's very right, because tomorrow you will have the SDPI, which is the Muslim organization. They will come out. You have the missionaries organizations. They will come out and say, okay, we want to do the same thing. Where does it end? It doesn't end anywhere. If the leader of the opposition of Karnataka was seen marching around trying to assert that is something he's taken oath under the constitution. He had no right to be doing it. This is something which is very important. When you take oath by constitution of secularism, India is still a secular country. Let's remember that. It's still not changed the constitution. Till it is secular, you need to maintain the secular tenets. And then we need to talk about
all in all, Mr. Grover, a dangerous precedent that this move has set, certainly. We also have Professor Sangeet Ragi, political analyst, with us on the broadcast. Sir, the Congress calls the RSS unconstitutional, BJP calls it cultural. Aap bataiye, where do you stand on that front? What is it really? Is it social, spiritual? Is it political? Critics say RSS and the states have merged completely, intertwined, joint at the hip. How do you respond, sir?
Kabir, first thing that all this goes to say that RSS is becoming a stronger and stronger with time. And that is why you find this kind of reaction from the Congress party. Second point, Mr. Nehru in the parliament had said that we will crush this organization and we will crush this kind of mindset. Syama Prasad Mukherjee had responded immediately to Nehru, Mr. Nehru, we will be crushing this, we will crush this crushing mentality. And you see where the Congress stands today and where the RSS stands today. Second point, I think Mr. Grover